Thank you. Good morning. I'd like to call the meeting to order and acknowledge that we are in Treaty 1 territory, the home and traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Innu, and Dakota peoples, and in the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation in Treaty 3 territory. My name is Ian Mann, and joining me on the panel today are Mr. Bill Moretsky via Zoom and Ms. Valerie Werhun via Zoom as well. The Assessment Department personnel is Mr. Matthew Barocas, and the administrative personnel today is Ms. Phoebe Graywood. We will be hearing applications for revision of the assessment rule in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we will limit discussion to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council and is independent of it and the City Administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the Board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to the assessed value or classification, or to the Court of King's Bench if the matter pertains to an application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the points of appeal with your property to be addressed with each applicant following swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony followed by questions that the applicant may have, and the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all of the evidence of an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all of the applications have been heard, and the board will deliberate in private to make its decisions. You will receive the board's decision by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. We will be hearing items 1 through 5 on our docket today, and Ms. Graywood, would you please affirm the assessors and the applicant's testimony?
Mr. Barocas, please state your full name.
Matthew Barocas.
Do you affirm the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Mr. Navarro, state your full name.
Marcelo Navarro.
Do you affirm the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. You may be seated.
Mr. Barocas, if we can turn please to number 1 on the list, that being the street address of 3199 Grant Avenue. If you can introduce the property and lead us through your evidence, please.
All right, thank you very much. Let's move this over here. File number 24-2146. Rule number 01008526003199 Grant. Personal care home. It's on the corner of Grant and Cathcart. We've got 3 lines here of value and classification. So explanation is going to apply to like all the properties today, as they all have multiple lines, just based on the fact that they're a personal care home. So we've got the first line here of 1,115,000, fully taxable. That would be the land value in excess of the 2 acres that is exemptable by the Municipal Assessment Act. So that's fully taxable. The school taxable exempt, the second line, 5,074,000. That's the cost valuation, depreciated cost valuation of the building. All of the building except for the small area that's used for like religious purposes. They have like a chapel or like a small religious area, which is encompassed on the third line of valuation. That's fully tax exempt based on the Municipal Assessment Act. So there is a small proportion of the land that's also assigned to the exempt portion, and that is calculated by taking the overall size of the building and then taking the square footage of that small religious area that's used for religious purposes, and then calculating a percentage on that. So it's the relative building value percentage applied to the overall land. So there's some land that is also as it is proportionally part of the building, also added to that exempt portion. It's not a heck of a lot because the area for that use is not that large. So hopefully that's clear. I'm happy to answer more questions on that afterwards, but I'm going to move through my brief. The total assessed value is $6,404,000. So it's a personal care home. It's got a few effective year builds based on renovations and work that's been done to the property. Total, it's zoned R1M residential, SF medium, land area 158,877. So on page 2, we got the picture of the overhead here. Page 3 just shows the overall cost calculation. So it shows the replacement cost new calculated by Marshall and Swift. Depreciation. Calculated up to the reference date. Depreciated, so you depreciate cost of the building, which is the new less the depreciation. And then there's some detached structures. There's like a fence or something. There's a list further on in my brief. And you get the total depreciated cost of the improvements. And then you have the land value as calculated by the model. There's no recent sales to get your total value of $6,404,000. Page 4.
Yeah, can I just interrupt, please? We lost the feed while you were going through the cost valuation summary. You'd gone through the replacement cost, the accrued depreciation, and the total for the depreciated cost building. But if you could continue then from the depreciated cost of detached structures, please. That was when it linked down here.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Pardon me. Okay, so for like the depreciated cost of the detached structures, that'd be like fencing or any, thing physical on the property that's not like encompassed in the square footage of the building, not a heck of a lot of value. Total depreciated cost and the land value as per the model equates to $6,404,000. There's no recent sales. On page 4 just shows the cost summary of the building section. Page 5, follow me to page 5, that shows the land sale comparables. So the models applied a net rate of $16.84. That's found on page 6. So when you look at the comparables here, they all have the same zoning. Our subject property is almost 160,000 square feet. So there's a range of properties, 6 figures that we're looking at. There's also a range of dates. Comparable one, though it's the most similar to the subject property, you note that the sale does come from October 2013. Wouldn't put as much weight on that one. And then you've got comparable sales 2, 3, and 4 that range from 2018 to 2020. The most recent sale, which is about a bit over 1/3 smaller, sold for $38 a square foot. The one in February of 2018 would be the next closest in size as opposed to comparable one. That one sold for $15.36 per square foot. That was in 2018. So we're looking at April 1st, 2023. So I think that at the net rate of $16.84 is reasonable. If there's not a whole bag of these sales to pick from, but based on what we're seeing here, I don't see enough to substantiate an adjustment on it. So on page, so you see the map on page 5. On page 6, What you'll see is just the calculation for the detached structures here. So there's a double garage, surface parking lot, paving concrete and asphalt, totals $57,000. Then we have the land valuation summary, also on page 6, so you can see how it's divided up here. The taxable portion, you see that's the land that's in excess of the school taxable maximum of 2 acres there as per the Municipal Assessment Act. 1,115,000, which lines up with what we see on the first page. And then we see the other lines as well, the school taxable amounts, and then the exempt proportional amount of the land fully exempt. Page 7 just shows the class and liability allocation. I'm not going to go through it all. You can always go back to reference it afterwards if you need a table to sort the allocation of value out. And then on page 8 just shows the Marshall and Swift cost report from our model, 50 years old, and the depreciated calculations that the model did. So then we move on to page 11. Page 11, and this would apply for all the properties on the docket today. We've got the liability taxation for real property. So 22.1 rather. Real property is exempt from taxation other than for local improvements where the real property is owned by a religious denomination, is occupied and used by the denomination primarily as a church, synagogue, religious rental house for religious instructional purposes. So that's been applied to this property. And on page 23.1 shows the school tax exemption. It's a personal care home as defined in the Health Services Act. When you go to the act, there's actually a list of them that are defined as personal care homes by name. And this property is on the list. So it gets the school tax exemption to a maximum exemption of 0.81 hectares. Then we've got page 12, the Municipal Assessment Act excerpts here that we've bolted on all the time. So, yeah, we've got depreciation set based on the reference date of the property, and we follow the direction from the municipal board on that. That's the way it's always been done. So rolling back to page 1, total assessed value $6,404,000. That's my evidence. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Barocas. Mr. Navarro, questions?
Mr. Rokas, did you prepare this report?
Ryan and I prepared it together.
Okay, and you also searched for the land comparisons as well?
Ryan, I did not work on that part of it in particular.
Those are my only questions.
Thank you. Mr. Moretsky, questions?
What did you got 1684 for the land value? Correct?
That is correct, yes.
And how did you come up with that based on your comparables there? Or was it based on your comparables?
The valuation was calculated by the model, and then we looked at the comparables to see if the sale price per square foot assigned by the model was reflective of transactions we saw on the open market.
Okay. And this land valuation, the taxable portion is outside of 2 acres, correct?
That is correct.
So 2 acres would be about 90,000 square feet. Does that sound right?
About on page 6, It's the area of the land that's above the 87,120. Aside from the small amount that is given exemptable status based on the relative percentage of the fully exempt portion applied to the land as well on a percentage basis.
Yeah, just want to make sure I understand all of this. Okay, I have no further questions.
Thank you. Ms. Warden, questions?
Just on the land comparables, just for zoning, just to confirm, you're looking under, I'm seeing single family, single family, single family. Are these comparables all care homes?
No, these are vacant land. So
Okay,
it's just for the land valuation. It's not meant to be a value indicator for any sort of improvements.
okay, okay. Thanks for the clarification. Thank you. That's all, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Brokus, I have some questions with respect to the cost valuation summary and some of the headings that you have on page 3. Just for clarification, the replacement costs new, it's also referred to as the RCN in some places. The amount you have is $12,111,814. That replacement cost new, that figure came from where?
That would have been calculated from Marshall and Swift from our system. And we've got the printout of the summary that of the modeled calculations beginning on page 8.
Yeah, I've got a copy of that as well. My question is, the inputs that are placed in deal with the square footage, the type of walls, the type of building that it's going to be. Is that fair to say, or is that correct?
Yeah, and if there's different effective year builds because there was an addition put on the property in 93, so that's accounted for as well. Like some of the building is 50, some of the building is 30, and that's, you can see the difference as reflected on it from the age of the building as listed as recorded in our records on page 8 compared to page 9. So masonry bearing walls, like hot water heating, sprinklers, it's kind of like a construction inventory based on what we have in our records.
Okay, and the depreciation that is also calculated from the Marshall and Swift tables, that being on a straight line basis, or primarily on a straight line basis?
I believe so. It's done by Marshall and Swift, so
Okay.
it's done by them, not any decision that we've made.
Similarly with the detached structures, the paving, the wiring, the paving, the electrical of the parking spots, things like that, fencing.
Yeah, we get the numbers from them.
Okay, thank you. I don't have anything further. Mr. Navarro, your evidence, please.
Okay, so this is 3199 Grant Avenue.
Right.
You can see a picture of it on pages 6 and 7. And I think we can flip right to page 11. So we are using the cost approach as well. We have a replacement cost new, which is 15,148,910, and that's based on our evaluation of the property. It's classified as a nursing home, and I will take you through that in the appendix on the cost side of it. The total accrued depreciation is 12,678,000, giving us a replacement cost new less depreciation that's $3,470,50. In terms of the land value, we've added land value, which is slightly higher than the assessors at $2,939,225 for a total value of $5,409,275. And below that, you see the split based on the different classifications liability. I have adjusted that. The reason for it is that we have taken away 2 years of depreciation from the property itself. And while the costing tables aren't really effective because they're effective the date of the report, which is 03/2023, that's March of 2023. Basically, I don't like signing 04/2024 or 04/2023 for the date, simply because I have no idea whether we've passed the reference date at that point, so I usually assign it to the month prior. So I will get back to that issue of the classification and liability splits and the revisions based on what we did. On page 13, you can see the sales that we used for the land comparison approach. We went through a similar process that the assessor would have gone through in looking for comparisons for this subject. And we would have looked for, ideally, the best comparables are the ones that are close by, but if we don't have that, then we have to move away from those areas and find properties that are, for example, similar zoning and similar size, and that will give us a rough estimate of what the land should go for in even the area of the subject. But given the fact that we are slightly higher than the assessor's land value, I don't think there's much of an issue there. On page 14, you should see a heading at the top that says summary report. So this takes us through the different sections of the property. So there are essentially 3 sections to this, 4 sections, sorry, to this property, and I will take you through each one. So the first one starts off as a nursing home, and it is, you can see the area there at 54,479 square feet, number of stories. The shape is a code that we assign to it. It can mean regular shape or irregular shape. The shape really isn't important at that point. It's the overall size and number of stories. The effective age is 53, but again, I mentioned before that we took away 2 years of depreciation from that, so that has been revalued. And the height of the walls is 10 feet. The ranking system is basically the quality class for it. So Marshall Swift has a classification system based on numbers. So the way that this 2 relates to 2 equals average. 3 would be above average. 4 would be excellent. The reason we give it an average classification is because we don't see this as being anything other than average. There would have to be something that would make this different from others. I think that in terms of the construction quality, the amenities, those types of things that would set it apart from an average classification. So we've stuck with an average classification on it. Below that, you'll see the components. So these are additives that we add. For example, brick, HVAC, 2 passenger elevators, 1 freight, sprinklers, and also we put the land value and site improvements on this one section. Beyond that, there is also basement. So you can see that there is 8,598 square feet of unfinished basement at a depth of 10 feet, and having additional components of HVAC and also sprinkler. Now, the second section is, again, a nursing home, same classification. And these are, just to give you some background, if you're not familiar with this type of system, which is Marshall Swift. Marshall Swift has series of what are called use codes, and those relate to the type of use code that you see here. So, for example, the assessment department also has use codes or classification that they assign to these properties. So the use code is basically just that. What is it being used for? So the one that we've used here again is a nursing home. And the second section has an area of 1,200 square feet, height of 10 feet per story, and a rank of 2, which is average. And years have been adjusted downward. Again, we've adjusted those 2 years downward. Here you see 52 years of depreciation, but we've adjusted that to 50. HVAC are additives to this section, as they are in every section, and these are warm and cooled air, sprinklers, and then the exterior walls. The next section is 961 square feet, and again, same type of thing. Height 10 per floor, rank is average. We do have a perimeter on this one at 1848 and an effective age of 32. That would have been, again, adjusted to 30 based on the correction that we've made. HVAC and wet sprinklers. The last section is also nursing home, 800 square feet, 10 feet wall height, and the rank is 2, which is average. And the effective age is 32, again, downgraded to 30. And the components, we've added HVAC and wet sprinklers. The cost is as of 03/23. You can see that on just below the section 4. The next page over, which is the last page, you can see that the building cost new is 15,092,910. And that is actually higher than what the assessor has predicted in terms of the replacement cost new. The depreciation on a physical and external is amounts to, you can see it there, 79.1 and 4.6. And the replacement cost new less depreciation is 2,470,050, to which we add a land value of 2,939,225 for a total cost of 5,409,275. And I'm open for questions.
Thank you. Mr. Brokus, have you any questions?
Yeah, just on your page, I guess it would be on page 14. For the effective age of the property, it says 53. If I'm remembering correctly, did you say you adjusted that to 50?
Yes, I believe that I missed that completely, so I will take you through the adjustments first. I shouldn't have called it at that point. So what we had prior is 4,284,000 for the 40S portion. That has been revised to 4,391,000. For the 40T portion, that is the taxable portion, we have 941,000. It's now 965,000 revised. And for the 40E portion, we have 189,000 now, revised from 184,000. If you want, I can give you a total, but we do it by the different classifications. So again, for the 40S, one more time, we've gone from 4,284,000 to 4,391,000. For the 40T portion, we've gone from 941,000 to 965,000. And for the 40E, the exempt portion, from 184,000 to 189,000.
Okay, thank you. Yeah,
What is
those are my questions, just making sure we're on the same page. And so those adjustments were based on basically
Taking away 2 years of depreciation.
yeah, okay. All right, those are my questions. Thanks.
Ms. Werwin, questions?
I have none, thank you.
Mr. Moretsky, questions?
So what is your revised total then?
You just give me a second. I I didn't do the total, I just did the splits, 4,391,960. It's 5,545,000.
Okay, then is the area that you used, the areas that you used in your workup, is it the same as what the city has?
Yeah, I mean, the different, I think the difference lies in maybe some of the additives. And also, I'm not sure what the city has done. So I know exactly what I've done. So I can, as I went through it, I basically took you through exactly what I did. But yes, the spaces, the overall size are the same.
You said your building cost was even a little bit higher, is that correct?
Yeah, so the replacement cost new is higher.
Okay, but the depreciated cost is lower then? And that's
Depreciated
why
cost
you,
comes out, exactly, it comes out lower. But again, we did correct some of that because we did scale it back by taking away those 2 years of depreciation on it.
well, that's where the real difference comes in your evaluation then, is the depreciation, is that fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, the assessor has about, I believe they assigned 5% for GST. Overall, we assigned 4.6%. So that accounts for any other obsolescence or GST that we would apply to it. So, yeah, I'm actually, I think the actual differences lie in some of the additives, some of the quality assignments on those, and that's about it.
Because they're using the same system, right, to evaluate it, both using the same system.
Yeah, we are using the same
So-
system. And in fact, even the quality class, I mean, you can see in the assessor's brief that they're using a quality 2 class. So again, I'm actually not even sure why there is a difference, but ours comes out slightly lower.
You were gonna say something?
No, I was gonna say anything.
Okay. Okay, I have no further questions.
Navarro, I have some questions with respect to the adjustments that were made, the 2 years of depreciation that have been added back on. I'm looking at page, I'm not sure what page I'm on here from the report. It's the summary report, page 3. I don't have a page number on this, but it's from the Marshall and Swift, the Marshall and Swift tables. It's the
Page 16.
I'm not sure why I don't have it on my,
I think it's blocked out at the bottom.
I'm looking at the depreciation of 79.1%.
Yeah.
That being the amount that was based on the 53 years as opposed to the 50 years.
Yeah.
Okay, some of your aged structures have a 30-year age, so where is the difference with respect to that? Or is the 79.1% a blended rate?
No, it's not a blended rate. Actually, you can see that in the assessor's page 9.
So flipping back and forth, and I was trying to compare these earlier on a rudimentary spreadsheet that I had, and I was having some difficulty there too. Okay, on page 9 of the assessors,
Yeah,
yes,
you can see that there's 2 sections there that have an age of 30 years.
right,
So that would be those 2 sections. So this facility was built in different stages.
right,
So you wouldn't blend in the ages. Marshall Swift kind of just does that in itself, but it's not blending them in. So it's basically depreciating each section separately.
So the readout of 79% is the
That
number
is- that
that
is-
Marshall Swift has come out with based on a mathematical difference of the 11 million and change over your replacement cost new. Okay, that assists.
Minus the 2 years.
Minus 2 years, yes. I have a note on that. The additives, now you indicated as well that the difference in replacement costs new could have been as a result of the additives and quality result. Can you expand on that a little bit, please?
So if you look at the additives, you'll see that there's a quality class beside them. So on page, for example, page 14.
Yep.
So there's a number beside where it says climate and stops. Right? To the right, following the. Well, the first one says climate, and then to the right, it says 3.
Yes.
And then to the stops, for the elevators, for the stops, it says 2, and for the sprinkler, it also has a 3 on it. So that is the quality class that we've assigned to it. So for the first one, we've assigned a quality class of 3, which is above average. For the freight elevator, we've assigned a quality class of 2 on it, which is average, and for the sprinklers, above average.
Which would lead to an increased replacement cost new.
Hence the reason we are
Right.
high, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But mathematically speaking, shouldn't that lead to the same amount of depreciation? It doesn't increase the depreciation
No.
percentage at all.
No, it doesn't. All it does is adds additional value when you're calculating the replacement cost new. So, and you have to think of the two as being separate. The replacement cost new is simply building up the cost of the property based on the reference date, which is, we've assigned it as 03/2023. And then the depreciation gets subtracted afterwards.
I'm just trying to reconcile why your depreciated amount at a total of 12,678,000, or based, other than some adjustments that have been made, is roughly 50% higher than the that of the cities. Or if I got that wrong, I have the city's depreciation at around 8,500,000. And your depreciation at 12,600,000. That's a considerable difference.
8,500,000 for the city.
That's what I had guessed. So it's looking at, yeah,
8,600,000, I thought. Yeah, 8,439,814.
yeah. Accumulated depreciation building on the city on the page 3 of the assessment brief shows an accumulated depreciation building of $8,439,814. And then looking at your Marshall and Swift tables, your depreciation is 12,500,000, give or take. And I'm not adding it exactly, but I'm trying to determine where that additional, because the 2 years that you have adjusted don't accommodate that much of a difference in depreciation unless it is a depreciation not on a straight line, but on a almost declining balance on a curve, which steepens at the end of the result.
Yeah, if you just give me a second.
Yeah, certainly. I'm looking for clarification here.
Okay, so I calculate the depreciation at about 83%. Okay, for our subject. The city has their depreciation based on the numbers that I'm looking at. Total depreciation at 8,440,425. And the replacement cost new at 211,826. Oh, no. That's okay. So if we look at the GST, if we look at the replacement cost new, which is 12,717,000, and I recognize that below they have a replacement cost new with GST, so it takes it down even further. So basically on the replacement cost new, it's 66.83. However, if it's the GST included, comes out to 70%.
Okay,
So there's about a 13% difference.
right, okay. Okay, thank you. That helps with that. I don't believe I have anything further. Mr. Brockus, any summary required?
None, thank you.
Mr. Navarro?
No. Thank you.
Then we, having heard the evidence, we will conclude this matter and move on to the next matter on the list. That's 1045 Concordia, and I believe that you have a position with respect to this file, Mr. Navarro?
Yes, based on the revision and the taking away of those 2 years of depreciation. We came up higher than the assessed value.
Okay.
So we would ask to have it confirmed.
Okay, thank you. And having heard that, Mr. Barocas, I'll ask you to introduce the property, please. And the only issue here was the assessed value. You could introduce the property and provide a summary with respect to that. I don't think we have to go into the same level of detail on the Marshall and Swifts, given the position of Mr. Navarro, but if you could give us some evidence, please.
All right, thank you. File number 243178, roll number 0206136950. 1045 Concordia. It's another personal care home. It's got 3 lines of classification, inclusive of the fully taxable land above the 2 acres, school tax exempt, fully exempt portion as per the Municipal Assessment Act, and the depreciated cost of the improvements plus the value of 2 acres of land at school tax exemption liability, 8,092,000. You can see the picture on page 2. It's a personal care home. The subsequent calculations for the land valuation and the cost are in the remainder of my brief. That's my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Navarro, any questions?
No.
Mr. Moretsky, any questions?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Ms. Wareham?
None, thank you.
And I don't have any questions, and having given your indication for the request for confirmation, I'm assuming that you have nothing more to add with respect to that, and so you're going to try to convince us for a higher value?
Still confirmed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Then I'll assume that there's no questions with respect to that as well, and we will conclude that matter and move on to number 3 on the docket, that being 301 Redonda. I have in my agenda notes that there are 3 issues here: liability to taxation, classification of property, and valuation. But I understand 2 of those have been removed.
Yes.
Okay. That being the liability to taxation and classification. Okay. Thank you for that. And Madam Clerk, that's been done in writing as required. Great. Thank you. Then, Mr. Barocas, would you please lead us through your brief and provide your evidence on the street address of 301 Redonda?
Absolutely. Thank you. File number 24-3443, roll number 09010474195301 Redonda Street. It's another personal care home. We've got 3 lines of valuation to encompass the fully exempt portion, the school tax exempt portion, 2 acres of land and depreciated cost of the improvements, and the fully taxable land in excess of 2 acres, of course, less the small exempt land portion as well. So we got a total valuation of $3,675,000. It's another personal care home, 1967 C2 zoning, land area 104,352 square feet on the land area. Page 2 shows the location of the property, southwest corner of Kildare and Redonda, Transcona. Page 3, it shows the cost valuation summary in terms of the accrued depreciation off the replacement cost of the building. And the depreciated cost of the structures with the land value comes out to $3,675,000 total. Zoom ahead to page 5, please. So we've got the comparables here. They range from 87,000 square feet to 140,000 square feet. Sale price per square foot ranges from 1742 to 3506. Our property, you can see on the next page, on page 6, it's about 1850, give or take. So it's supported by the similarly sized comparables. See the map underneath of the location of the comparables. Then on page 6, you can just see the overall detached structure details, asphalt, parking surface lot wired. I suppose that's the heated parking spots, I think. Land valuation divided up on percentage basis. Then on page 7, she just shows more of a detailed breakdown in terms of the percentages and the land allocation and how the liabilities apply, and the municipal act excerpts that apply to the respective tax liabilities on the column on the far right as they pertain to the different lines of valuation. And then on page 8, that would be the cost report. So again, like the first property is done by Marshall and Swift, age of the property, reference date. And then with the information we have in regards to its cost inventory, its physical inventory, Marshall and Swift calculates a depreciated value on it. And then page 10 just shows, again, those excerpts from the Municipal Assessment Act in regards to the class, or rather the tax, the respective tax exemptions. So total value, $3,675,000. That's my evidence. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Navarro, questions?
This is the same case as the other one. You did the Marshall Swift with Ryan, and regarding the land sales, he chose them.
Ryan chose them, but I mean, it's my brief. I handed them in, but he helped me with this.
Okay, so the next question is would you agree this, I mean, the evidence shows that this property was built in 1967. There have been no major changes to it. Based on that, I noticed that in your your cost workup that you've assigned a quality class of 3 on it, which is above average. So can you enlighten us as to why that was done?
I'm not sure. I haven't inspected the property, so I can't comment on that.
Thank you. Those are my questions.
Thank you. Mr. Moretzky, questions?
Your depreciation on the building on page 3 is 55,446,247. And what was that based on?
That's based on the Marshall and Swift calculations that begin on page 8. It's done by the age of the building and the physical inventory we have, and then based on their costing program, they calculate the depreciation.
When it says less normal appreciation, 76%.
That's
That's
based, sorry, what? Sorry.
that's what it's doing there. That all those numbers are coming up to give you that appreciated amount. Summary.
Yeah, it's based on the age of the building and the physical inventory.
Bear with me for a second there, Mr. Chair. Okay, I have no further questions.
Thank you. Ms. Warren, questions?
No, mine were just answered. Thank you.
I have a question, Mr. Barocas, with respect to the quality level of 3 and its use in Marshall and Swift. By assigning or having a quality level 3 assigned, which we've heard is a slightly higher quality, does that have an effect on the replacement costs new or the depreciation? I'll ask one question at a time. Does that have an effect on the replacement costs new?
You know, I'm not sure. I think it might, though, to be honest.
And how about on the depreciation? Would the increased quality affect the depreciation rate as calculated by Marshall and Swift, or is that something that you can answer?
I'm not sure, but if I was to, based on my schooling and whatnot, I think the depreciation is the same. It's just coming off a higher number. But
Okay.
I can't say that for certain. That would be my hypothesis.
Fair enough. Thank you. I don't have anything further. Mr. Navarro, your evidence, please.
Okay, so this is 301 Redonda Street. And again, the same will apply to this one as the previous one that we spoke about, where we've added an additional 2 years of depreciation. Sorry, we've subtracted an additional 2 years of depreciation. On page 6 and 7, you can see the property. And again, this property is costed. So it's got an age of 1967. Now, I think, don't quote me on this, but Marshall Swift will basically top out at about 100 years. So after that, there's essentially no value left in the building anymore, unless major renovations, capital work have been done to the property to bring it up to a higher age. In this property, we also haven't made any adjustments based on that, meaning that there haven't been major renovations. We would have scanned the permit system to see whether there are any changes that have been done, so there would have been no significant renovation periods. And, you know, again, we've spoken to some of the owners about these properties, and they'll tell us, you know, whether these properties are still relatively unchanged. Most will have some type of updates in terms of maybe electrical, plumbing and HVAC. Those will be changed over time. But we didn't effectively change the age on this one. So 1967 would have taken us to 59 years. Of course, we're deducting 2 years from that, so it's effectively 57 years. And again, there we've assigned again this as an elderly assisted multi-residential property. And in terms of the ranking, we've assigned a rank of 2 on it, which is just average. And that goes for every section. The additives are essentially just warm and cool air. No others. However, just looking at this, I did notice that there is an elevator, passenger elevator missing, so that would have an effect on it, so I would ask for confirmation on this at this point, since we're missing an important component of it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Brokus, have you any questions?
I do not, thank you.
Ms. Warren?
Sorry, no, none at this time, thank you.
And Mr. Moretsky?
No question, thank you.
And I have no questions. Mr. Brokus, given the request for confirmation, do you see a need for a summary?
I do not, thank you.
And I'm assuming you don't need Mr. Navarro a
No.
summary?
No.
Thank you. So catch up on my notes here. And we can turn then please to number 4 on the docket, that being a street address of 1275 Burroughs. I have in my agenda notes that the assessed value is the area of contention here. Mr. Brokus, can you please introduce the property and provide your evidence?
Thank you very much. So 1275 Burroughs, file number 24-2551, roll number 14100123540 1275 Burroughs Avenue. It's another personal care home. We've got again a total assessed value of $6,355,000, split up into 3 lines of classification and liability. Based on the fully exempt portion as per the Municipal Assessment Act. The land fully taxable in excess of 2 acres, and the depreciated costs and 2 acres of school tax exempt valuation. Effective year build 1965, 1989, land area 133,365. RM, FM zoning. Follow me to page 2. You can see a picture of the property, corner of Shaughnessy and Burroughs. Cost valuation summary is on page 3 with the accrued depreciation and the depreciation, or rather the depreciated cost of the detached structures and the total value of the land. We've got the cost summary of the building section on page 4. So you can see that there's some different ages in terms of additions that have been put on to the property and how the respective depreciation rates are applied based on the age of it. So we got land sale comparables here on page 5 for RMFM zoning. We've got $10.65 as per the model applied to the subject property. The sale price per square foot for the comparables ranges from $10.81 to $19. They're all similarly zoned. But they're pretty close to the subject property. Comparables 3 and 4 are the most similar in terms of their square footage. We're at 1065. The other ones are higher than the subject property's line valuation. Subject property detached structure details are found on page 6. And you can see the land apportionment there and the net rate, $10 and change. Page 7 shows the breakdown in the Municipal Act excerpt application. And then we have the cost report rounding out the remainder of my brief here, and then the Municipal Act excerpts at the end as well. That's my evidence. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Navarro, questions?
It would be the same questions as the previous one. You've chosen the land comparisons, or Ryan has?
Ryan did the land comparisons.
Okay. I believe that is my only question.
Thank you. Ms. Warren, questions?
Thank you.
Ms. Warren, questions?
None, thank you.
Oh, sorry, I missed that. Looking at something else, I guess. Mr. Moretsky, questions?
I do not, thank you.
My question, I'm not trying to be unfair to you, Mr. Baracus. Have you had a chance to look at the applicant's brief here?
I just opened it and peeked into it just now in preparation for his presentation.
Okay.
But not extensively, I have not.
My question, and if it's an unfair question, I apologize. Tell me that you can't answer it. I look at your replacement cost new of all buildings as calculated or as noted in the Marshall and Swift table is $13,980,000 and $13,980,390. And I'm looking on a comparative basis at the replacement cost new of the applicant brief of some 21,500,000. That's a considerable difference. Do you have an explanation for that difference in the replacement cost new?
I do not. I can only speak to like what we have. It's based on the inventory in our records on building, based on the physical assets and the years we have them in our system. So
Okay.
I can't speak to what the applicant has in theirs. That'd be a question for them. They could probably answer better.
Fair enough, thank you. I don't have anything else. And Mr. Navarro, your evidence, please.
Okay, 1275 Burrows. On page 6, you can see the general area and the makeup of the building and the complex. On page 11, you can see our replacement cost new is 21,539,848, and the depreciation is 18,147,940. That gives us a replacement cost new less depreciation of 3,391,908, and a land value of $2 million. Again, which is significantly higher than the assessor's value. Total value, 5,391,908. On page 13, you can see the comparisons that we use to establish our land value. And starting on page, this would be your page 14. We can start with a summary. Again, there are several sections to this one. There's a total of 6 sections. And again, we start off with the rank of 2. The first section is 25,321 square feet, 1 story. We have a perimeter on that one, and an effective age of 53. Of course, that's been changed to 51. And the components are the HVAC, the exterior walls, and the passenger elevator, and also the foundation. And the foundation adjustment would be piles and things like that. Section 2 is classified as an office building. It's not an office building, it's part of the same complex, but we just classify it as an office building. It basically picks up the costing methodology of an office property. And that is again rank 2. 1,780 square feet, perimeter 194, and effective age is 45. That would now be 43. We have some exterior wall stuck brick veneer, hot water radiant heat, and again, another foundation adjustment. On the next section, again, 9, rank 2, 1,889 square feet. Perimeter 212, effective age of 45, now 43. And in terms of the section 4, rank 2, perimeter is 282. Total area is 4,455. Exterior walls are, we've added for exterior wall, HVAC, and foundation. And the components are HVAC. Sorry, there is also a basement in this section. You can see that there are 3 levels or 3 different basement areas. One's 1,375 square feet. The next one is 2,977 square feet, and the next one is 4,580 square feet. And in terms of perimeter, 780, and that also has HVAC and hot water radiant. The next section is section 5, again, rank 2, total area of 44,422 square feet, 1768, effective age is 36. Again, that would be 34 now. Now, the last section is the church, which is again rank 2, 1,089 square feet, perimeter 1,768, and effective age 36, now 34. Additional components added to that are warm, cooled air, sprinklers, and this is where the land goes on at $2 million. So the total replacement cost, new less depreciation, is $21,539,848. The depreciated cost is $3,391,908. Added $2 million in land value, $5,391,908. And I'm open for question.
But before you do, can you give us your revised amounts?
Yes,
And then, thank you.
sure. For the 40S portion, we're going from 4,923,000 to 5,152,000. For the 40T portion, we're going from 404,000 to 423,000. And for the 40E portion, we're going from 65,000 to 68,000. So the total now is 5,643,000.
Thank you. And Mr. Brokus, any questions?
I do not, thank you.
Mr. Morensky, questions?
Let's see, your plan area is 68,781, correct? Was that the building area then?
Yeah, that's correct.
Well, that seems to match what the city has. Your building value is quite a bit higher than the city's, and you're using the same system again. So what would be the key differences there that you used?
The key difference is that I missed a story.
Okay.
So the area is the same, but if you know something about construction costs, it's cheaper to build up than it is to build out. So you have a one-story section that is the same size. You're essentially increasing the cost of it. That's why there would be an additional cost to it.
So you added a story then?
There's one less story in the valuation, in the cost valuation. So effectively, we've overstated the value of the property because of that.
Well, okay, if there's one less story, then wouldn't your original valuation would have been too high then? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so just so like to make this clear, I just noticed this as I was actually going through it, that there's only one story on there, the same area or relatively the same area. What happens is that when you break that over 2 stories, the actual cost is lower than if you were to do the same area over 1 story, meaning that it works. It's more expensive to build it in 1 story than it is to build 2 story. Like the cost reduces after you start adding stories.
But you got the same area though.
We have the same area, exactly, yeah.
It drives it up that much.
It does drive it up quite a bit. However, in the end, the value that you come up with, I think, is still, I think it's still good. Because we're essentially just valuing it differently, but we're still valuing. Again, I think it's 78,956 square feet.
So your depreciation is about 84%, is that correct?
Yeah.
That also differs a fair amount from the cities using the same system again. What's the key differences? They are at 76%, by the way.
Yeah.
Any comments on what the differences are?
I don't know why there's a difference. I really don't know. I mean, we're not inputting anything significantly different. There is the age factor, but we've scaled that back, so I'm not sure actually what the difference is. It might just be the difference in I don't know. I really don't know.
I have no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Warren, questions?
No, they were along the same line. So I'll say that my questions were answered. Thank you.
For Navarro, I have a question with respect to the office designation that has been assigned to one of the sections of probably which one, section 2, I believe it is. Section 2, yes. 100% office building. It has the area and effective age, etc. Is that assigned a different depreciation level in the Marshall and Swift?
Yes,
And is it a higher depreciation or is it a lower depreciation rate?
my guess is that it's likely higher.
And you assigned this office building.
And also, sorry, just to add on that you can also see that it's different construction types.
Yes.
So the one, the other section above it, you can see that it's masonry bearing wall construction, whereas this one is wood frame. So yes, depreciation would be quicker.
Okay. This section of the 1275 boroughs of the subject property, is it all office here or?
That's my understanding.
Okay.
I believe the assessor has that as well.
The designation would make a difference in the depreciation rate. Or
Yes.
if not the designation, the construction style would make a difference in the depreciation rate.
For sure, because the costing overall for that type of design would be lower to begin with, but it also decreases. I mean, it depreciates at a quicker level than, say, a masonry building.
Similarly, with respect to section 6, which says 100% church classification, wood or steel framed exterior walls, that would have a different depreciation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Show with section 3. I think that one is also wood framed.
Yeah, section 3. Yes, wood or steel frame, right. Okay, thank you. I don't have anything else. Mr. Broke, a summary?
I do not, thank you.
Mr. Navarro, summary?
No.
Then we'll turn to the last item on the list today, that being the street address of 276 Hugo. The issue I have from my notes with respect to the agenda are the assessed value. Mr. Brokus, would you introduce the property and provide your evidence on it, please?
Yes, thank you. File number 24-1972, roll number 12022273500. 276 Hugo Street North, convalescent home of Winnipeg. It's another personal care home. This one just has one line of assessed value, so that's reflecting the fact that when you look at the land area, it's all within the exemptable 2-acre amount. So there's no amount that's being assigned fully taxable status, and we don't have record here of any fully exempt space. So it's just one line here, 2,460,000. 65 to 1990, construction class B, reinforced concrete frame. Page 2 shows the overall cost valuation summary. Page 3 shows the cost summary by building section, so you can see that there's been some additions put on the property, and the relative depreciation rate as assigned by Marshall and Swift. Land comparables again on page 4. So we're R1M reds small. So we've got 3 comparables 2, 3, and 4. They've got the same zoning of the property. You can see that they range from $13 just under $14 a square foot to about 66 square feet. Then we got another one, comparable one, but it's also got RM FM zoning as a secondary zoning applied to it. And it's sold for $38 for 40 cents. I mean, given it's got that has a different zoning, I wouldn't put as much weight on it. So we're at $49 on a net rate. You can see the map here, and on page 5 shows the rate of the property in the net area. Page 6 just shows we've only got one line for class and liability. You can see it broken down. Building and land, and references the 23(1)(a), the school tax exemption that it is applied to this property. Based on it being a personal care home, that we've got the overall cost report by Marshall and Swift on page 7. All the way down to page 11. Page 12 is the liability to taxation for school taxes. Again, everything is within 2 acres here, so all the land is school tax exempt. That's my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brokus. Mr. Navarro, questions?
Yeah. Going over your brief, starting on page 6, 8, and 9. Sorry, 7, 8, and 9. I noticed that you have an elevator adjustment on each of those sections. And I understand that there's only one elevator in this building, so can you explain that?
I believe on page 7, it looks like Marshall and Swift, it says count beside passenger elevator building 1. Does that not line up with what you're intending the building has? Maybe I'm not sure. If you're saying it has one elevator, it looks like we only have one elevator recorded.
I understand that, but there was an adjustment for it in each of those sections. So that effectively puts one elevator on each of those sections.
Oh, so are you talking? Oh, so you're saying that based on what this is we've assigned a separate elevator. I'm not sure. I'd have to look into our notes and probably talk to Ryan on that. I'm not as familiar whether we're, double counting or triple counting an elevator when there's only one.
Okay, those are my questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Navarro. Ms. Warhun, questions?
None, thank you.
Mr. Moretsky?
I have none, thank you.
I'm just, Mr. Brokus, I'm looking at the land comparables and the map on page 4 of your brief. Would I be correct am I correct that 291 Nassau Street North is the closest parcel geographically? So that would be your comparable 3 is your closest parcel geographically to the subject property?
Yeah, they share the same NCA. I know like McMillan is somewhat similar to as well, whereas St. Joseph and Jefferson are further away. So comparables 2 and 3 would be in the general vicinity.
Okay, And I know that on occasion I've seen a time adjusted sale price that hasn't been done in this situation, or is that sale price per square foot time adjusted?
Well, I mean, it's assigned by the model, using like all the sale data. This is just like a segment that we presented at the board based on the zoning that we found. I mean, you look at the date of sales, they are older as well. Admittedly, it would be greater if they were closer to that of comparable one. But again, comparable one is RMFM zoning, and we really wanted to stay with the R1S zoning, because zoning is pretty important in terms of valuing vacant land in terms of its buildable potential and the potential income an investor might be able to extract from it. So unfortunately, this is the 2 and 3, probably the best sales we could come up with, unfortunately, based on the area and everything.
Okay, thank you. I don't have anything further. Mr. Navarro, your evidence, please.
Sure. Yeah, this is 276 Hugo Street North. You can see the general location on page 6 and 7. This is really at the corner of on the north side of the property on Jesse Avenue and Hugo Street North. So the parcel is 19,600 square feet, and it's zone 1 RS residential small. I guess what I'll say about that is that realistically, I think that was probably a grandfather situation where, years ago, the zoning on that used to be R1. This property was built between 1965 and 1990. And is basing on my knowledge of that. What probably happened is that a variance was granted at some point, allowing for this property to be built on this particular zoning. But realistically, in today's market, I don't think there would be a market for a parcel like that to be zoned R1. It would likely be some type of RMFS, RMFM, or RMFL zoning. And why they haven't done it, I just don't think it's really important for them because the building's there. So, however, the best comparisons are actually, I think, coming from sites that are relative to the size of it and relative in terms of the zoning. I think zoning actually takes a back seat to this because I think it's more important to look at the size of the property. And what you can do with that site. So we looked at properties that were probably closer to the size of it, maybe a little bit larger, and came up with a value of $31.96 per square foot. I looked at the assessor's comparables 2 and 3, and they may be closer, but in relative terms, they're significantly smaller. So the type of adjustment that you would have to make based on the size of it is just, at that point, I would almost not use those. So we have a value of $629,000 on the land. The replacement cost new of the property itself is $9,443,228, and the depreciation is $8,272,985. Replacement cost new $1,170,243. Again, added to that is land, 629, and we come up with a value of $1,799,843. On page 14, you can see the cost workup. And again, this is a 4-section property. So on the first section, again, we've classified this as a nursing home, rank 2, total area 17,632, 4 stories, perimeter 308, effective age 60, that's now 58. Exterior brick veneer, HVAC, hot water radiant, wet sprinklers, and 1 passenger elevator. Foundation adjustment. For section 2, same type of thing, rank 2, total area 7,000, 4 stories. Same type of additives in terms of the components. Exterior brick veneer, hot water radiant, wet sprinklers, foundation adjustment. There's 3 basement adjustments for each for 3 sections here. The first one is 1,014 square feet. The next one is 1,736, and the next one is 371 square feet. And those basement components have also HVAC and wet sprinkler. Section 3 is we have it as 1 story with 1,014 square feet, 65 feet perimeter, and an effective age of 40, now 38. Exterior wall components are brick veneer, HVAC, wet sprinklers, and foundation. And then section 4, 4 stories. This is 1,484 square feet, 35 years effective age, now 33. And again, same type of components, brick veneer, hot water radiant or HVAC, and wet sprinklers, and the foundation adjustment. And on that section, we add the land value as well, 629,600. So on page, this would be the last page. You can see the building cost new less depreciation. Sorry, building cost new is $9,032,928. There's some extras in there, site improvements, $9,443,228. Less depreciation, we get a depreciated cost of $1,172,430, and a land value of $629,000, an end value of $1,799,843. And I'm open for questions.
Thank you. For that, did you do an adjustment for the?
Yes, I will go through that.
Can you provide that and then we'll have a question, please?
So the adjusted cost is $1,845,000 rounded.
Thank you. Mr. Brokus, questions? You're muted.
Just on page 13 of the brief, would you agree that these land sales you've chosen are the neighborhoods they're in? Would you'd agree that they'd be suburban in character?
I would think that they're slightly more suburban than this area. This is an older part of the city. However, you know, they're also larger. So I think that makes them more relevant.
And just in terms of zoning, would you agree that different zonings have different requirements in terms of like setbacks and permitted uses versus other zonings? Would that be a true statement?
It is true. However, given the current zoning in there, in today's environment, I'm not sure that you could actually put that building on that property with that zoning. So you would need something like RMFM, RMFS, RMFL.
Okay, those are my questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Moretsky, questions?
I do not, thank you.
Ms. Warren, questions?
None, thank you.
I have a question, Mr. Navarro, with respect to the depreciation aspect, and for this ease of calculation, your replacement costs new and city's replacement costs new are fairly close, 9.8 million versus 9.4 million. Yet your depreciation is some 20% higher than the city's, leading to a fairly significant difference in the replacement cost new less depreciation. What is the difference comprised of? Why the increase in depreciated amount?
So ours is 78.5%.
Right.
And the assessors is. Just going through the,
Oh, that's fine.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, the depreciated costs of their buildings are 1,496,000.
Right.
And ours is 1,170,243.
Yes,
Uh,
and you started around the same number.
which number are you looking at?
Sorry, I'm looking at the replacement cost new. That the city is using 9,836,000. And you're using 9,440,000, you calculated 9,443,000 and change. So I'm
Actually,
equating those two fairly closely.
right, so I'm looking at the next page 11 on theirs. Their replacement cost new is 10,328,502.
Okay, is that on their brief or is that on
Page 11.
Sorry, let me turn to it here. It may be that I've played a couple of numbers here. Yes, I see that. Okay, yes, 10,000,003. Yes, okay. I do have I had misread that. I apologize. Okay, thank you. Then I don't have anything further. Mr. Brooks, any summary?
I do not, thank you.
Mr. Navarro, summary?
No.
Okay, then we will conclude that matter, and that concludes all of the matters scheduled for hearing
Oh,
today.
Mr. Chair, sorry.
Yes.
Sorry, can I ask one more question?
Certainly.
You had adjusted the total, this is for the applicant, you adjusted the total from 1,799,843 to 1,845, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
What is the breakdown between the building and the land on that? Do you have that as well?
Well, our land would remain unchanged at 609. sorry, 629,000. So I'll do the quick math here for you. So the building would be 1,216,000.
1,216,000. Okay, sorry, I apologize for that interruption, Mr. Chair. Yeah.
Okay, then that completes everything that was scheduled for hearing today, and we will adjourn the hearing. Thank you very much, Mr. Barocas. Thank you very much, Mr. Navarro, for your time and presentations.
Thanks.
Thank you.